welcome to day 14 of my life reset. So I want to go through one word just during this time because it's been on my mind a lot recently. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I am Rach. I train people in appointment settings, specifically girls, to help them achieve a soft life. This is something that I did 2.5 years ago. And now I'm really just sharing my expertise of working remotely, working for clients, and yeah, just being able to make a living around your lifestyle essentially. But that being said, there's been one word on my mind more than any other over the past couple of weeks, and that is boundaries. So something that I'm really trying to reinforce with all of the girls that have come through my academy is when onboarding a client, do not shy away from negotiating it and also putting boundaries in place. Even though you are working for yourself and you are offering a service, the line can sometimes become a bit blurred between what you're onboarded to do and what would actually help them if you took on. So it's really about having those open discussions and confidently handling client expectations. That being said, boundaries is not all about how you should negotiate with a client and what you should be doing in that sense. You also need to think about what boundaries you're going to put in place to make sure that you are holding yourself accountable for delivering client results, but also making sure that you get the most of your life. Like I say, I really am all about that soft girl lifestyle. So this weekend, I have definitely been feeling a bit under the weather, but because I've made a commitment to show up for 30 days on YouTube, I have not let that slack, even though I did just do a voiceover because I was like, I'm not getting on camera. Even today, I'm like, oh my God, but it'll be fine. And I made the commitment to show up on YouTube because that's more a competition with myself, and I was like, I've got to do it, otherwise I would really let myself down. So I'm glad I did that, but I have been under the weather. I felt like I had no energy, so I really had to be, when you work for yourself, so I really had to be careful with where I'm dedicating my time. And I think this is an important conversation to have because I've gone from working in a 9 to 5, always being alongside teams. I've worked in hospitality, retail, everything else before. And a lot of the time you get a second opinion. Even when you're in school, for example, where you have to say, okay, my mum's going to call in sick for me, or I'm getting sent home because I've gone to reception and they've said that I can get sent home. So you're constantly in this cycle where you have a second opinion when it comes to working for yourself. And although appointment setting, you are working for clients, you're working for multiple clients on multiple accounts a lot of the time. It's very rare to onboard just one client because, to be honest, I really recommend having multiple because it gives you a bit of variety, lets you spread out your day a bit more. But we'll get into that in another video. And in that sense, it's really up to you to decide where you're going to set a boundary when you're not feeling too great and actually being able to safeguard your time and your health. So I've obviously done not so great job of it over the last couple of days, so I'm still not feeling 100% now, and that's because I did put too much pressure on myself to continue showing up and continue working. In my mind I had, this weekend I'm not going out, I've got no plans, perfect, I'm going to get ahead of the week, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So I've had this guilt eating me alive that I've not been able to do it all this weekend, and showing up to YouTube was the very least I could do. So I'm glad I did that, but at the same time I should have really taken a step back and put those boundaries in place for myself, because I think I'd be feeling a lot better today. And that is one thing where you not only are responsible for setting the boundaries with the clients, you also need to be able to say to yourself, wait, take a step back, or you shouldn't be doing this, or you should be doing this. So I've been spending the last 2 weeks putting together all of these resources for negotiating with clients, for handling these difficult conversations. But this weekend has really just shown me that you actually do need to have these conversations with yourself as well. And now I've actually implemented a weekly check-in so that all of my girls have to tell me like what went well last week, what they're going to be working on this week, and anything that they need from me, anything that they'd change. And I think that that's just a really good way of thinking to yourself, okay, what did I do last week that made me more productive, and what am I going to do this week? So having those conversations with yourself, but also with someone else. And I don't think I would have been able to take control of my time and actually manage self-employed life without the help of different mentors and coaches, and that really made me think, like, is that the only way that you can maintain boundaries when it comes to holding yourself accountable but also knowing when to take a break? And I was thinking about this quite a lot today because I was honestly dreading coming on camera and doing this YouTube video, but here we are because I've made a commitment to myself. And this is, I know it's probably not the best thing when I'm talking about boundaries and actually knowing when to take a step back, but honestly, if you felt the way that I feel about completing this 30-day challenge, it's just a personal goal of mine, then you'd be showing up as well. So anyway, back to boundaries. I thought, how else can you hold yourself accountable that's not investing in a mentor or a coach? And obviously the next best thing is getting someone else to hold you accountable. So even if it's a friend, a family member, just doing weekly check-ins and saying, like, how's your business going? What have you been working on? What went well last week? What's going well this week? And then just having that process of understanding if there's any sort of, if there are any variables that make you be, if there are any variables that help you to be productive, or if there's anything that slows you down and how you can overcome those obstacles. The next thing that you can do, and I've actually reverted, if you've seen my YouTube from the other day where I have all my planners, I've reverted to a previous planner which actually gives you some time blocks. So it has 3 tasks during the day and 3 main tasks, and then it's got a whole other task list. But for the 3 main tasks, you can actually tick off when you've done 25 minutes of each. And I found that game changing because I'll have tasks that I should be spending 2 hours on, and just having that 25-minute process to be like, okay, is my environment exactly what it should be right now for me to work my best self on this task? Should I change anything? Should I have a 5-minute break? Should I go and get a cup of tea? What can I do to make myself perform at the best state possible? And obviously, the thing with setting these boundaries and actually understanding what they are and when you should be using them, you're going to save a lot of time at the end of the day because you'll know where you're going to be providing, where and when you're going to be providing the most value. So yeah, so that is a bit of a TED talk, but I think I honestly needed to say that for myself more than anyone else. But I really hope that it helps anyone out there, especially when you're just starting to be self-employed, because it's obviously something I'm still getting used to. But working with coaches and understanding what my girls need from me, from my own experience, is my favourite thing. So I'm like, okay, well, this weekend I've sort of fucked it, but learn from it. Next time I feel like that, then I'm going to actually set more boundaries in place for myself. But in the meantime, I'm going to make sure I get back to my optimum state by using my planner, by using these different check-ins with my mentor, for example, and yeah, just staying on top of it and just checking in with myself. So this is your reminder, check in with yourself and set those boundaries. But this has been day 14, I think, of my life reset, and I will be back hopefully more sparkly tomorrow.